Hey, I'm Steve Speck with Exo Mountain Gear. Lenny Nelson and I are up here today, first scouting trip of the year, looking for some high country bucks, and thought this would be a great setting to do a pack fitting video for you guys. So pack fitting is really simple to do on the Exo pack. First and foremost, we got 3 different belt sizes. I'm a 32, 33 depending on time of the year, and so this is a small belt. You can see that it's wrapping around the front of my hips. Really the only thing you want to make sure you're doing there is that you don't get too big of a belt. So if I took a medium on and had 100 pounds in the pack and went to cinch it up, basically the foam right here would touch and I would run out of adjustment, not be able to get tight enough. So with heavy loads, that's going to sag down. So if you're on the border, you always want to err on the smaller side, and you have to account for worst case scenario, which is what I got right now, a thin wool t-shirt on and just some pants. So a lot of guys ask about, well, what if I wear a jacket? You know, it's late season. You really can't account for that. You have to plan on the worst possible scenario. So another key factor is make sure you got some pants that don't require you to wear like a leather belt. If you do have to wear a belt, make sure you wear a thinner like nylon one, just because that's going to cause a lot of pressure points. You're really trying to get 80–90% of the weight right here on your hips, and if you got anything in there that can pinch and roll, especially a thick leather belt, that's just going to cause discomfort. So when fitting an Exo pack, it's very easy to do. I'll kind of take it off here and show you. Really, the only adjustment you have to worry about is your torso adjustment here. And the first step you want to do is when you get a pack, we ship it usually set about the middle setting, which is roughly an 18-inch torso. Make sure all the straps are loose. Obviously your load stabilizer straps, your load lifter straps, and then the shoulder harness. And then I'm going to take the pack and just put it on. You do want to have about 30 pounds in the pack, just so that you're getting a little bit of natural sag to it. So I'm just going to put the pack on. And a little bit of this can vary on what feels better for you. I like to start, the top of my hip bone is right here, and we got a stitch line running right down the middle of the pack. I like to put that right there. You can run the pack a little bit lower. It just depends on your kind of the curve of your spine, where you want that lumbar pad to sit. There isn't a perfect answer here. It's just whatever works best for you. So go ahead and tighten that up. And again, all these straps are loose. Nothing's, especially make sure that your load lifter straps are loose, because they can kind of pull your shoulder harness funny. The next thing that Lenny and I like to do, and it's something we found, is we actually like to set the sternum strap first. And reason being for that is that we can kind of control the distance this is going to sit. If you are a bigger chested guy, you can set it a little wider. If you're a little bit smaller, you can narrow this up. And then I just like to set it so that the shoulder harness isn't rubbing into my neck. Okay. So once I set the sternum strap, then I'm just going to take the shoulder straps and just lightly snug on these till I feel the pack kind of pull into my body. And then I'm going to take the load lifter straps, and again, just lightly snug on these. You don't want to yank on them, because then you're just kind of distorting everything. And then all you want to do is stand up straight, and the key thing here is you want to make sure, with especially about 30 pounds in the pack, that you can just barely slip your fingers in your shoulders. Even if you kind of shrug up, you'll put pressure on your shoulders and then you relax. There should be a little bit of a gap right there, and that's going to be about a perfect. With 30–40 pounds in the pack, it's going to sit right there. As you put like 100 plus in there, it's going to sag a little bit, but still should keep the weight off the top of your shoulders. And the load lifter straps, as you get a little heavier weight, you can pull on these more, and they're going to transfer the load from here into the front. And that's basically it. So I'll just kind of demonstrate real quick. Say I put this on and I had too much of a gap, so it was way too high here. All you do is take the pack off, and we've made this very easy to do. You got this Velcro, you're going to pull that up, and we got these metal G-hooks. So you're just going to take them, slide them out, and move it up or down. So if it was too high, I'd want to move it down, so I'd move it to the 3rd ring. Slide that in. Same thing on this side. And then what you do here is you want to make sure that these metal G-hooks are pointing down, and so they're actually going up to the shoulder harness. So instead of pulling down on this, you just want to pull up, and don't put a ton of pressure. You just pull up lightly, get this shoulder harness centered, and then just push it down, and then you're just going to put the pack back on. Again, make sure all the straps are loose. Get it centered where it feels comfortable for you. Cinch it up and check. And for me, I've done this enough to know that between the third and the fourth webbing loop back here with that metal G-hook is about perfect for me. Either one, some days feels better one way or the other. The important thing to kind of keep a note is this isn't an exact science. This is just what works and feels best for you. So lastly, our load stabilizer straps here. 99% of the time you're going to keep these pretty dang loose. I had a guy who had some pack fitting issues the other day, and he actually came to the shop and he had these things all the way maxed out where it was pulling the belt up, and it was causing a lot of excess pressure. Really all these do is when you got heavy weight on, you're going to just barely cinch those up, and as you lean this way it's going to pull tight on that side, and as you lean this way it pulls tight on that side. So it's just stabilizing that load as you're hiking with heavy weight over terrain like this. So okay, so a few last notes. It's important on your shoulder harness system here and the load lifter straps not to really over crank on them. You really want, especially whether it's 30 pounds or 120 pounds, you want a lot of the weight, 80–90% sitting on your hips. So don't be afraid to get that tight, and that goes back to make sure you don't have like a leather belt on underneath there that's going to pinch your skin. And another thing I've seen guys do is instead of setting the sternum strap first, they'll take these and they'll really reef on them, and then it really kind of pulls them out, and then it puts excess pressure on the front and on the back of your shoulder blades. So again, we like to set the sternum strap first and get that. Feels a little narrow, about right. And then I'm just going to snug that up and go back and snug this up. If you are getting excess shoulder pressure, then I would definitely say your torso is too low. And then a good check for that is the stitch point right here where this webbing, where this tri-glide, plastic tri-glide meets the webbing, and there's a stitch point right here. That seems to be about right on your collarbone. If that's lining up, usually that's about right. And it could be give or take an inch up, an inch down, but it just gives you a ballpark area once you fit everything to go double check that. And obviously that varies. This torso, as the shoulder harness comes off the pack, again, if you're a deeper chested guy, in same height as me, same torso length as me, you're probably going to need the torso set actually higher so that it's wrapping further around the front of your chest. And then this is one thing that I figured out. Lenny and I both kind of stumbled upon it with all the heavy load testing that we've done and packing out game with these packs, is after I put 100 pounds in it and I get everything set and I hike about half a mile, it seems like things kind of settle in, the weight starts sagging a little bit, and the pack just kind of starts really sitting on the top of your hips. One thing I like to do, and if you start feeling any pressure on your shoulders, I'll just take the shoulder straps and just barely loosen these up, and then come in here and pull that. And so basically you just kind of lengthen the torso and then pulled up on your load leveler straps, and it just puts the pressure right back here on the front of the chest, and then from there you should be smooth sailing. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give us a call or send us an email at info@exomountaingear.com. We'll get back to you as soon as possible, and we're always willing to help as much as we can to get the pack fitting right for you.